Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. It's Andrea here. As you can see, we are busy. We have scored some used equipment for our pigs. Those were actually some pig hutches that we were unloading. We've had some questions on the pigs we moved to the woods. If you're new around here, we are moving our pig operation, trying to raise them more in the forest, to raise forested pork, more in their natural habitat. We've had them out on pasture for years, but this is just one more step in the right direction. And so in preparation for winter, although they do have the woods and underbrush and all kinds of stuff to get up and huddle up in, we are putting some hutches out there for them to huddle up in like a barn. A lot of times those are used for farrowing or when they have babies, but those, we're gonna use them just kind of like a little pig barn. As well as those other things you saw, the big silver things, are feeders. We're gonna be raising a lot of pigs at a time, so that will allow us to feed them and them all get something to eat. And then also a pig waterer. That's gonna come in so super handy. We've already put one up here with the pigs that we bought just about a week ago. We bought a bunch of pigs from a show pig farm, and so we already got them set up with some feeders and a waterer just like that. But this video is not about pigs. This is about milk cows. So I am going to answer probably one of my most asked questions. We have been trying to go through and answer some stuff that we get asked on a quite regular basis. So lately, that's some of the videos we've been doing, is answering some questions that you guys ask us. More than one of you guys ask us, and you ask on a regular basis. We're trying to give you some info that might benefit you. So today we are going to talk about milk cows, a home dairy cow. That is one of my personal, I guess you could say, specialties. That is something I really love and am very passionate about. Ben has his things, as well as I know you have your things. And milking cows on a homestead, not a commercial type dairy thing, but on a homestead, is one of my passions, and it's one thing I try to share things I've learned over the time of doing it. And so that's what we're going to talk about. What do you need to look for if you have decided you want to purchase a cow for your homestead? What do you need to look for? What kind even of cow? So let's get to it. Hey Marvel girl, you want to come eat a bite? Well, come in here. Let's let them look at you. So this is one of my girls I'm milking right now. I have 8 different milk cows. I try to keep at least 2 in milk at a time. Sometimes it's up to 3, 4, even 5 at a time. I try to at least milk 2 because I sell a little bit of milk that is legal to do here in Arkansas. You'll have to check your laws in your state, but this is one of mine that is in milk right now. Her name is Marvel. She's docile as a puppy, or else I wouldn't have my back turned to her, but she is standing in there eating, and she is one of my best cows right now. She's young, her udder is good, she's just got a lot of things going for her. But Marvel, you can see, has a lot of black and white on her. That there can be black and white jerseys, so that doesn't necessarily mean Holstein like a lot of people thinks. But Marvel does actually have Holstein in her. And that is one of the first things you need to decide when you are going to buy a family milk cow, is what kind do you want. So this is Marvel, like I just told you, has a lot of Holstein. Her calf just nursed, so her udder is not very big right now, but by tomorrow when I come out here to milk her, that will be a big full udder. She produces a ton of milk. So that's one thing you need to decide, is how much milk are you wanting and what are you wanting to do with that milk. Marvel would be perfect for a large family because she produces a lot of milk, but her milk is not super high in fat. It doesn't have a super high fat content. So if your goal is simply volume, that's why you see a lot of dairies with those black and white cows, Holsteins, out on their pastures, is because they can produce like 8 gallons a day or something like that. So if you're looking for volume, I would say Holstein or a Holstein cross is definitely the way to go. All right, you gotta take turns. It's Miracle's turn. Yes. Good girl. Come on, Miracle. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. So I don't know if you can tell because both their udders are a little bit empty right now, but Miracle has a much smaller bag than Marvel does. Still very good shape. And we're going to talk about that in a second, but it is definitely smaller. So Miracle doesn't necessarily, being a Jersey, produce the volume of milk that Marvel does. But one thing Miracle has going for her is that her milk is higher in fat. It has that good, beautiful yellow cream on top of it. And so it's going to depend on what your goals are. If you are wanting to make a lot of butter and cream cheese and just all kinds of things that you make with the cream, sour cream, higher fat cheeses and things like that. If you're wanting to do a lot of those things, you're gonna more than likely want something other than a Holstein. And so that is why my recommendation, our top pick here on our farm is Jersey. That is what we like for a variety of reasons. There's others that have high milk fat, but in some of my other points, you're gonna realize why we like the Jersey so much. That wasn't very nice. So you can see when Miracle left the barn, Marvel is there waiting and headbutts her every time. I usually try to stop it and run Marvel off myself, but Miracle can take care of herself too. I can't do it all for her. I'm not out here all the time. But so that leads me to my next point is temperament. What kind of temperament are you wanting? And that is one reason we raise Jerseys. They have a very, very sweet, docile temperament. And Jerseys just have much sweeter personality. Marvel, in fact, is behind the camera at this very moment, slinging her head at me, telling me she wants to come back in here. And Miracle is standing over there like a well-behaved lady. So they definitely have different personalities. Jerseys just tend to be sweet. Now, that is Jersey cows, not Jersey bulls. You don't turn your back on a Jersey bull. In fact, we've got a spicy one of those. But Jersey cows, their temperament is just, it's just the sweetest, and it's just what I prefer. And as well as, you saw my girls, now both of mine, the Holstein and the Jersey, were willing to come in here. It's not milking time. This is afternoon time, and I milk in the mornings. But they're willing to come in here whenever I call. And so that's another thing you might want to look for is, Marvel's headbutting the gate at this moment. But that's another thing you want to look for is, does the cow that you're buying, does she come when she's called? Do they go catch her? Is she halter broke and they go catch her, like put a rope on her and lead her? I've never done that. Mine come because they know they're going to get a little treat, and so they will just walk right up here any time of the day or night. And you might not think that's a big deal, but the first or second or third time you have to go round the cow up because she will not come, it is a big deal. And honestly, them coming when called is more important to me than personality. They can be a little bit rowdy and spicy and wild and crazy, whatever you want to call it, because I have taken some that you would not believe that they tamed down and that I can now milk them. Butter, one of my first milk cows, I told you about my cow named Mama. She was Mama's first calf, and she was wild. I've never seen a calf this wild. And we trained her down, and she is a sweetheart now. I could walk up in the field and milk her. So the wildness, you can usually tame that down. Sometimes there's nothing to it. As soon as they realize that they're going to get to come in and eat, they're calm. Like, that's it. But even if not, if it takes a little bit of time, but the not coming to you and not leading or not coming when called, that can be a real problem. So that would be high on my priority list. Next thing you need to know is about their udder. I showed you Miracle's, and she has a nice, you can see how it's high up and it's tight up by her body. Over time, their tendons and ligaments that hold that bag up can stretch, and those bags will almost swing and touch the ground sometimes. Definitely they'll swing and hit like what I call their knee joints, and then you're just asking for a problem. Miss Marvel, you can see her too. Hers is high and tight up next to her body. Now, as they age, it's going to hang down some. That's just natural. It's going to get bigger and bigger the more they calve, but you definitely don't want to start out with one that you're planning to have for years and years that's already hanging way down. You're also going to want to find out, do they have 4 working quarters? That's not a deal breaker for me. In fact, my first cow, mama cow, only had 2 working quarters. She had gotten bitten by like a bug, a mosquito, a fly, something, and she had scarred over 2 of her teeth, so milk did not come out those. She would make milk and then it would dry up in those 2 quarters, and then I would milk the other 2 and she never had a problem. But that can lead to problems, so you need to be aware of that. But I got a good deal on her. She was a registered Jersey from a dairy. She was used to being milked. I needed something experienced that was going to be gentle with me on my first experience, and so she was perfect for me. And since then, we have actually had more than one that didn't have all 4 working quarters. It's not uncommon at all. It's not a deal breaker, but if you do want a cow that has all 4 working, you need to find that out, because it's not just an understood thing that they are. And that leads me to another big thing you want to find out. All animals have their common things that you need to know about, that you need to be watching for. And in a milk cow, it is most definitely mastitis. You need to find out, has that cow had mastitis? How often? Because sometimes I've had cows that once they have it, it's kind of like a chronic thing. You're going to fight it. Just the fact that they've ever had it, again, is not a deal breaker, but you need to know if it's something they tend to hang on to all the time, because that's going to be, you're going to have to do something about that, however you choose to handle that. And while they do, you're not going to be getting milk. So you need to find out about that. And that ties into what I told you a few minutes ago about when they lose the ability to hold their bag up and it's swinging and hitting their, like what I call knees, you are more than likely going to have mastitis troubles, because it's bruising their bag, and you're going to fight that. So look at their bag. Go ask if you can milk that cow before you bring it home. And when you do, feel for lumps and clumps and places on their bag that look like they've almost kind of rotted out at one point or another, even if it's healed. That all can be signs of mastitis troubles. So that's one thing you want to look for. And finally, you have to have a calf to have milk. So you can see these cute little babies. If you don't have these, you're not going to have milk for long. So obviously you want to ask about their calving history. You know Miracle's story. If you've been around here very long, you know she had trouble. We're watching her closely. She is bred back. We've had that question a bit. She is bred back, and so we are watching her closely to help her if she needs it this time. But most likely she won't have trouble this time. That's a really common thing with first-time heifers, and then the second time they just have them on their own, no problem. But if you're buying one, you definitely want to know their calving history. How easy do they have their calves? Do they breed back very easily, or do you go for long stretches of them just keeping on coming into heat and not breeding back? That can be a big problem. And how many calves have they had? Because there's only so many calves that they're going to be able to have in their lifetime. And if you think you're buying a cow that has years and years left of giving milk to your family, you could be wrong, depending on if they're in the later stages of their calf bearing years. So you need to find those things out. So that is my top tips if you are looking to buy a milk cow for your family homestead. All the problems I mentioned, though, I've dealt with those at one time or another, sometimes multiple times. So none of those, if you already have a cow or you found the one you want and she's not quite perfect, none of us are perfect. So that's when you start learning about that cow and what to do about it, and you just push through. It can be done. We've dealt with every single one of the things I mentioned to you today, and so it's just part of it. It's fun. It can be such an awesome, fun journey, and it is also a way, if it's legal in your state, to bring in a little income to your homestead, because there's always people looking for raw milk. It's such a super powerhouse food, and it's just hard to come by because there's not that many people doing it on a small scale and willing to sell it to you as truly raw milk. So maybe you could be that person in your area. So I encourage you, don't let any of this stop you. You're always welcome to contact me, and I will help you with whatever I can. I haven't encountered everything, but I have encountered a lot, and I would love to share that with you guys. So if you need help with your cow, feel free, leave me a comment, shoot me an email, Facebook message, whatever, and I'll be glad to help you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys Thursday. God bless.